All right, so originally you weren't born in Louisiana. You were born out of state. Where were you from originally?
Newburgh, New York. That's upstate.
Upstate New York. And then you moved out when you were a little child, huh?
When I was 12.
12 years old? Mm-hmm. Where'd y'all come down to?
Baton Rouge.
Okay. And you stayed here since then?
Yeah, I mean, I've been going back home, visiting and stuff like that, but yeah.
Yeah, been a resident of Baton Rouge ever since. Mm-hmm. Do you remember any of that time before you moved as a little child?
Oh yeah, I can remember well when I was young. Actually, when I was around 4, that's when I had wrote my first song. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because I was inspired by Michael Jackson, and which he inspired a lot of people. Yeah. And I wrote my first song. It was called I was a big Bugs Bunny fan. Mm-hmm. And it was called "What's Up, Doc." Uh-huh. I remember the hook, but I can't remember the verses. Yeah.
And it was like rap style. Rap was hot back then, just getting around the streets. I would have assumed.
Rap was just in the streets then. I remember going to Mount St. Mary's, which is a college in my hood, and they used to have the parties up in there. Uh-huh. You know what I'm saying? They had this crew called DOC and Company. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I knew everybody in the clique. Shout out to them. And as a kid, we was going to the parties, and I used to see, watch them, and it was just overwhelming. And I used to see myself on the stage singing and all that type of stuff, But I think around that time I was about 6. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? 7.
6 and 7, you were hanging around with all these older cats watching them do their thing.
Yeah, it was parties. They was throwing parties, and they was the entertainment. Yeah. DOC and Company. It's a rap group, mm-hmm. a rap clique, and he had Kid Nice, who's the legend. He was the DJ. He had Charlie Rock. He had Eddie On. He had those are the ones that I remember. I might. By names right now.
Sure,
what I'm saying? But I'm sure there was more because I knew my boy Fly Ty was affiliated with him, and my brother-in-law, R.I.P. Chauncey Chill, his rap style was incredible. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Wow. And so you were watching these guys at a young age, right. An impressionable age.
Yes.
And you're like, that's where I'm gonna be next. That's what I'm gonna do next.
That's what made me want to start rapping. Yeah. Around that age. And so I was rapping and singing, I was getting it together, And as the years go on, I just kept doing my thing, just getting better with my craft and just doing it. Eventually, we moved down here.
What year is that? Because I want to place this in the timeline.
That was 78?
78?
Yeah.
Okay.
78.
All right. And so, rap, honestly, is still in its infancy at that time.
Right. Rap it was out where we were, where we're from.
Right.
Because everybody was doing it. You know? But nationally, down south,
right.
Wasn't there unless somebody moved from New York like I did.
Yeah.
And like MC Shy D did from Atlanta. Yeah. He's same story, but I think I moved to the South before him. And that's what it was.
I remember him on Q93. He was a little kid. He had a little kid voice on Q93.
Right.
That's funny.
Right.
Before y'all moved, because you said you moved at the age of 12, right?
Right.
So you were coming up, not quite into your own, but coming up.
Right.
Did you have relatives down here in Louisiana?
In the South.
You did?
Yeah, in Memphis.
Oh, okay, in Memphis.
In Memphis.
All right, but not down in Louisiana.
Not in Louisiana.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. I know the reason I asked, sometimes rap kind of migrated out through where cassette tape being mailed to other people, relatives in other states, and
stuff like that too, right? Because a lot of our relatives did that, and a lot of our people back home did that.
Sure.
They probably had relatives down south.
Yeah.
But still, it wasn't here.
It took a long time for information to get out back then.
Yeah. When we got here, it wasn't here. When we just left from up there, the Sugar Hill Gang came out.
Okay.
Rapper's Delight.
That's right.
It didn't get here until '79.
Okay.
Look how long it took to get here.
Yeah, that's right.
So, but we had it. Matter of fact, when we came here, my brother and them, lied to the people and said we were the Sugar Hill Gang. and was rapping their song, and people believed that we were really them. And when it came out, they really believed it till they see these pictures.
That was it. The gig was up, huh?
Gig is up.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
So you get here, it's, you said 78, is that right?
78.
78, you get here, 78, Baton Rouge. You got something new to bring, which you got something new to bring to the table down here.
Right.
Who are you, where are you hanging out? Who are your friends at that point? Just moving here, you got to meet new people.
Yeah, because they're all witnesses. I got one cat that I first friended when he came down here. His name is Louis Francois, and we're still like brothers. And he knew, just growing up with us down here, he knew we could rap and all that stuff. He knew we could dance, and he even caught on, from being around us.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what it was. We used to go to the skating ring, Lido skating ring on North Street. And that's when they was lying to us. We was the Sugar Hill Gang and all that type of stuff, and taking these cats' girls, and they was getting mad. I was young. I wasn't really doing the girl thing. You know what I'm saying? Because I was a little, I was young. My brothers and them kept me innocent. You know what I'm saying? And but my brothers and them were all three of them. And I'm trying to say that these cats got mad when they found out that we wasn't the Sugar Hill Gang, and they crowded us.
Yeah.
They didn't crowd me.
Yeah,
I was a little boy. They wasn't gonna touch me.
12 years, 13 years old, you kind of playing both sides of the fence at that time. You still mama's baby, but you trying to get up out of here.
Right. And but my brother told me to run because there was only three of us at that time.
Yeah.
We normally be about 7, 8 of us.
Yeah.
So they caught us slipping.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
How many brothers you got?
Right now I got 4 brothers because I got a little brother now. He's a twin.
Okay.
So
but back then it
wasn't he wasn't there though.
Right. It was 3 brothers at the time and yourself.
I had 3 brothers, but one was still in New York.
Okay.
He came, but then he went back. Because him and my stepdad couldn't really get along. He was my oldest brother, and so he went back home. So me and my other 2 brothers stayed, and they're older than me too. I was the baby for 15 years.
What's the age difference?
My little brother and sister, to 15 years apart.
Back then, the 2 that were.
My brother before me is a year and something older than me, and then the brother after him is a year older than him.
Okay.
And then my oldest brother is a year older than him.
Y'all pretty close together in age.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I have my sister's the oldest though, and she's and then she's a year older than my older brother.
So, all right. So that was the genesis of your music career was New York all the way.
Oh yeah.
And then when you came down here, it just continued, but it was in different atmospheres. It wasn't in colleges. It was at skating rinks and other gatherings for kids.
Right.
Was it still an older crowd that you were hanging around? You found yourself around?
I've always hung with my brothers. They're older than me, so but it came to a point where one of my brothers, he did a bid. He went to jail. The one before me, he did 25, and but he went to jail in '82, so he was gone. And then I told you my other brother, he went to the service in '81.
Oh, that's right.
So I was by myself.
Yeah.
In '82, I was by myself in '82.
2 years, 3 years. You had enough time to establish roots down here, though.
Oh yeah.
So to speak, with find your own crowd and all that stuff.
When I first got here, cats was jealous. When I came down here to 7th grade, they was just cats was jealous because I was who I was, and and all the girls like me. I'm fresh. All that stuff.
Yeah, fresh meat.
Accent, just everything. And then I brought all this talent with me. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, it was, the cats was jealous, man. But anyway.
What was the outlet at the time? Were you able to do anything, DJing, rapping, any of that stuff?
I was the first DJ down here at the age of 15, and I did a party off of Airline Highway. It used to be called Showcase. I think it was something like that, Showcase Pizza, something like that. And I was 15 at the time, and I was the first one to do that, to throw a party at a different, like a place like that. Because not everybody do it now, what I'm saying? But back then, first DJ to do that.
15 years old. How did you line that up? You went and approached the owner and said, "Let me rent this place out," or what?
No, man. I'm trying to remember really, but it was so far back. I think what it was, a friend of mine named Melbo from out of Fairfields, he hooked that up for me.
Okay.
You know, yeah, he hooked it up for me. And he's like, hey man, why don't you do this and do that? I said, yeah. I said, I'll do that. Let's do it.
Now, to back it up a little bit, what were your genres, your musical inspiration? What were you hearing in the house as a child, coming from, like your mother's music collection, your father's music collection? You had brothers and sisters too, so I'm sure it was all over the map.
Old school, man. I'm an old school fanatic, because that's what I grew up listening to. As a kid, as a child, coming up, man, my mama, if she ain't playing it, my sister playing it, my brothers, they was too busy, out there. I had the one brother, he was cool, he was a school kid, he was good, mama's boy. You know what I'm saying? But my other two, my oldest brother and a brother before me, they was in the streets.
Yeah.
my oldest brother before me, when he was 8 years old, he was driving because he was, in the mix with the older cats that, training the younger cat type of thing.
Yeah.
And I seen his direction, man, and he came down here, and unfortunately, he didn't. He was doing the wrong thing.
Didn't last long. But so, what were your parents? What kind of artists? You can name a few your parents were listening to. Or what were you hearing as a child?
Yeah, my bad. Shoot, you name it, man. One of my favorite songs is by Major Harris, because I always play that. And love won't let me wait. That's one of my favorite songs, man. So I grew up listening to that. That song woke me up in the morning. You know what I'm saying? As a kid, yeah, that song woke me up a lot of times because my mama wasn't blasting it, my sister was blasting it. And then you had, Gladys Knight, Earth, Wind and Fire. You just name them, the OJs, some Luther. Let me see, when Luther was with that other band.
Look at me. No, I don't know.
Okay, you're right. Before Luther went solo.
I just know Luther is Luther. I don't know.
He was with a group before he went solo.
So it was R&B.
Teddy Pendergrass, all them, Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes.
Blue Notes,
Teddy, the Stylistics, you name them, man.
So it was soul music and R&B music, heavy.
In my house.
And all right, so you got the soul and R&B background, and before you left, you were starting to hear rap. Now, it was kind of fused together because they were using the breakdowns from the soul and R&B tracks for their sets. Right. And, okay, so you bring down kind of an amalgamation of both of those, and it stays with you. When you were DJing, you're DJing for 15, 16, 17-year-olds. Right. What are you playing at that point? Because the next step doesn't exist yet. Rap don't really exist yet, so what do you play?
Oh, no, rap was out then. When I was 15, that was in 82.
Okay.
Right? That was in 82. When I was 15.
82?
Right.
Yeah.
So African Bambaataa was out.
On a national level, though, you had just a few. Run DMC came out.
Run DMC wasn't out yet.
Early?
They came out in 83.
83.
Yeah, this was 82. But you had people like Nucleus, Jam On It. Jam On It.
It was still dance music.
I mean, well, not Jam On It, but you had Wiggy, 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 Wiggy.
Yeah.
All that stuff coming. But you had a lot of groups coming out of New York like Africa Bambaataa on that style. Around that period, around 82. It was like that era was.
Yeah, it was dance music, but it was totally different than what your mom and dad were ever listening to.
It wasn't nothing like that. But but that's what I was playing for.